Welcome to NYMLB Talk, New York's #1 baseball podcast. Now here's your hosts, Chris Pizzaya and Rob Maraska.
And welcome to a new episode of NYMLB Talk with your host, Chris and Rob, who's not here today, but we do have a special guest host. I'm going to introduce her in just a second. But if you are on YouTube, check us out on YouTube. If you're on there, give us a sub right now. That would be great. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want, you can follow us on Twitter and on TikTok at NYMLB Talk as well. You can follow myself at CP7NY. You can follow Rob at Armaraska. But Rob is not here tonight, but we have a very special guest, one of my favorite people in the world, especially talking Yankees. My friend Lynn, she hosts the Upper Deck podcast with her friend Ciara. They do a great job every Sunday morning. Check them out as well. And they're part of the Pinstripe Chronicles group, which we love as well. Those guys are great. Definitely check them out as well. So, Lynn, welcome.
Chris, thank you so much for having me. I wish that I could be excited about the Yankees, but maybe I'll be a Mets fan by the end of the show.
It's starting to get that way, right? It's starting to get that way that I don't even want to look at this team anymore. Today, I mean, again, we go down early 2-0. Of course, Altuve hits a home run against us, right? We knew that was going to happen. But they fought back. We tied it in the, the 6th inning. It's frustrating because they had a chance to take the lead, right? We had I think we only had one out, and we had a guy on third base, and Bellinger struck out, and then Jazz flew out or whatever. So we couldn't get the extra run in. So goes into the 10th, and guess who pitches for us in the 10th inning? Why Devin Williams? They don't have anybody else. One of the groundskeepers, one of the guys working in the stands. I mean,
I'm only 20 minutes from the stadium. I could have gotten down there.
There you go. See?
Yep.
There's how many people in the stands? 40-something thousand people. You couldn't get one person to throw some pitches for us tonight instead of Devin Williams. Seriously. I mean, this guy can't pitch anymore. He really can't.
Anymore. I don't have any evidence that he ever could, because this great get we got, I haven't seen any greatness. Period.
It's unbelievable. And this is a guy that was really good for the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, really good. I mean, he's one of the best closers in baseball until he comes to the Yankees. And he's just one of those guys in a long list, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of guys that have come here that just can't pitch in New York, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I get that it's different from Milwaukee or Pittsburgh or wherever, but this is the best place to play. You want to win every single game. There's that pressure. There's, that expectation of winning and getting to the playoffs and all that. Don't you want that as a player? I mean, I don't get it.
It's absolutely true. And it makes me wonder if, when you're talking about recent history, at least the Joey Gallos of the world and, and others like him who, like you said, just couldn't handle the pressure. And we broke them. And does it have to do with the current stadium? Maybe the stadium was cursed and the cathedral should not have been torn down. Maybe they could have kept renovating it.
That part I agree with, but I don't think it's because of that, because listen, it happened there too. I mean, at the old Yankee Stadium, we had the same problem. There was always a player, like almost every year, that we got that was so good, and then he comes here and just completely poops the bed, if you want to say it, whatever. They can't handle it. Like, I think Paul O'Neill said it, and I've heard it many times after that, but he even said it. He goes, sometimes the pinstripes are too heavy for other players to wear, right? And unfortunately, that gets proven almost every year. We see it. Now we're seeing it with Devin Williams. I mean, in recent history, like Sonny Gray, right? When he came here, he was great before he came here, and he's been great since he left.
Right.
So figure it out.
And then you have Clay Holmes, who has the friggin' nerve to put holes in the lining of my stomach here with us.
Right.
Now he's the greatest, phenomena for the Mets.
Yeah.
So what is that? And every former Yankee that we see when we're against them, they roast us over. They roast us. They rake us over the coals.
I know.
The revenge tour. So I mean, Glaber is the most recent example in my head. And hey, good moves, kid. Maybe we could get you in Pinstripe someday. Oh yeah,
he's pretty good. It just doesn't. I don't know. It makes it no. I mean, maybe there's a problem. Fine. And listen, Hal Steinbrenner is never going to do it, but maybe there's a problem in the organization, right? It's not just Boone, right? I'm just saying maybe, but I'm just saying because Hal Steinbrenner is not going to do anything. He's not, right? During the offseason, after the disaster that happened last year in the World Series in Game 5, right? There was a big emphasis this offseason. We got to improve our defense. We got to improve, how we play the game and all this. And we're having, I think it's even worse than last year with the errors and the mental errors, not running the bases correctly. The coaches, like, it's just amazing. It's the same thing. And we have, when you look at the roster, I mean, it's a pretty good roster. I'm not saying it's the greatest, but to me, it's as good as anybody in the American League, right? Because the American League is, it's not strong this year. It's a very weak American League this year. Any team has a shot, right? And yet, right, we're like barely holding on to this final wild card spot. And if we lose tonight, we'll be a half a game in front of Cleveland. A half game in front of Cleveland for the final wild card spot.
Well, last I checked, we're winning and probably won tonight, by the way.
So, I think Cleveland did win, yeah. So, and it's 5-3 in the 10th. I don't know if anybody's watching it. I hope you're not, because it's disappointing.
There appears to be somebody on that white square thing called a base.
Yeah. Volpe.
Volpe doing the leapfrog thing. And so when I mean, they brought Goldie in. Oh, and look, we called it Chris. Stanton's warming.
There you go. He's getting ready.
Okay, yeah, they brought in Goldschmidt and Stanton.
That's the part that's the part that frustrates me as a Yankee fan, is that we know that if this team just puts it together just for these last 2 months, right? They could make the run right to the World Series again like they did last year, because like I said, the AL is wide open. If they could just put it all together,
Yeah, but they have to put it all together while someone falls apart. And who's going to be the ones to fall apart? Because they're snacking, so, and we'll have to wait and see what happens on the West Coast, where literally all our competition is. But to be this far back, to be in third place, and we're like, we're over 500, but not by far. And
this team has been below 5. They're playing below 500 balls since June 1st.
Yes.
Right? So for over 2 months now, they are a below 500 team. And obviously, if you're a below 500 team, you're not making it to the playoffs. So they have to start playing better. I mean, it's now it's do or die, right? It's not May, where it's like, oh, it's only May. They'll be fine, right? You lose a couple of games in May, it's like, we're fine. There's plenty of games left. Now you got less than 50 games left. You're into August, almost halfway through August. These games every game is a must win now, especially now for the Yankees. I mean, they put themselves in that kind of a hole. So
100%. And, I love that people have been saying, but they got to have a easy ride of it, through the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But you know what? We haven't been able to sleep on anyone because we look at the Marlins, for crying out loud, right? So,
right.
And who do we have after the Astros? We have the Twins, the Cardinals, the Rays, the Sox, the Nationals, and the White Sox.
So, as Boone would say, right, and he says it all the time. What does he say all the time? It's all in front of us, right?
It's right there in front of us.
Right. So, but I hate to say that, but it is the truth right now, because it is. It's all in front of us, because you know what? We have to play Boston. We have to catch Boston now. We have to catch Toronto. So all these teams we have to catch, we're going to play. So, which is good. We have to play,
Yeah, I guess we have the Jays in September. Do we see the Jays in September? This is the rest of August that I just spit out, but yeah, I didn't check September. So I hope so.
Yeah, it's frustrating because, like I said, if they could just put it together, how many times in these last 2 months have we seen the pitching be really good? Like tonight, the pitching did good up until the 10th inning, obviously, but you know, Schlittler 2 runs through 5 innings, and
and he got it out of his system in the top of the first.
Yeah,
and held himself steady. Really, and we got to remember he's a rookie. He's less than a rookie, really. Like you know, he just came up. So
we do play Boston September 12th, 13th, and 14th. That's in Boston in September. Okay. And here's the other thing. After we play Boston, look at the schedule for the rest of the season after we play Boston. At Minnesota, at Baltimore, home against the White Sox, and home against Baltimore. So, like, I hate to say, but it's all in front of us, right? With that schedule, too. The schedule is not that hard. So they got a chance to do it. They just got to put it together. But can they? That's the problem, right? Because now we've seen 2 months of really bad baseball.
Yeah. With a lot of teams that we think are easy for us to get after that have gotten us instead.
Right.
So I will never sleep on the Orioles. They could wake up alive at any moment.
Yeah.
And the team, the team just, what is it? What is it that's broken? Do you think? I have my theories and things to complain about, but what is it?
What isn't it? I'll say it that way, right? Because the pitching, I think the starting pitching is good, but again, Max Fried, right? Max Fried has not been good. His last, I think 5 or 6 starts, he's not been good since that blister popped up. But it's not a problem, but he hasn't pitched good since that blister popped up, right? So now you got to start thinking, is that the issue with him? Because he hasn't pitched great since then. After that, you got Rodon. We know Rodon. He's like a flip of the coin almost. It's almost inning by inning. You could see him dominate for 4 innings, 5 innings straight, and then just completely fall off a cliff, right?
Right.
Will Warren's been, I think, good overall listen, the kid's a rookie. We can't expect that much, but he's been pretty solid, I thought, Yeah,
I think so. He makes me bite my nails a little, but
he's a rookie. You got to expect
a rookie, just like Schlittler is, but with more time,
a little bit more time, yeah. It's guys that I think that, listen, if they're pitching okay now, like with all this experience, imagine them going into next season, Schlittler and and also Will Warren, those 2 guys are going to be in the rotation next year, especially with, Garrett Cole's going to be out for, who knows next year. Probably, I'll say he'll come back around the All-Star break, right? Either right before, right after.
Yeah, they're saying June, but I'd be surprised.
Yeah. All right. So even if it's June, we still need somebody until then, right? So one or both of these guys will be in the rotation for sure, unless they trade somebody,
Yeah.
All right. So the Yankees finally lost.
Yeah.
They had guys on base.
That's our leadoff guy, Trent Grisham, ladies and gentlemen, got us our final out with 2 men on base.
There you go. Again, they had chances. They had chances, like I said, in the 6th inning when we scored the 2 runs. They had a guy on third base with less than 2 outs. All they needed was a sac fly. They couldn't even get that. So that's the other thing. Like, even they're not doing the little things. right? They're not doing the little things to win. Yeah, right now I think they still got the most home runs hit by a team in the whole league, which is great. That's incredible, but you still got to do everything else to win. Like there's got to be more. You got to get the clutch hits. If not a hit, a sac fly to get the guy home. We wouldn't be talking about this game going into extra innings if that happens, right? The bullpen did great until the 10th, until, Mr. Williams came in and really blew the game open, unfortunately. So I don't know. Like, I think anything that could go wrong with the Yankees has gone wrong, right? Including Aaron Judge getting hurt for a couple of weeks, right? I mean, he's back now. He got a hit tonight. He drove in a run. That's great. But, I think everything that could go wrong with this team has gone wrong. So
far, everything. I don't know if there's not going to be new horrible things, but
can things turn around? That's the thing. That's where I'm looking at it. Like,
yeah,
can we turn it around? I don't know.
Well, the road's getting very narrow to make. You can't even make a K turn right now.
No,
to turn things around, you're gonna have to, make 5 different maneuvers, 6 different maneuvers to turn around. It's certainly not going to be a quick U-turn.
No.
I just, and the thing is, it seems so old and tired to, play the blame game, but can we play it for a minute? Because I'm sorry, there is, and you spoke about it earlier, Chris, that Hal's not going to do anything.
No.
Hal's not going to, get out his ATM card anytime soon. We're lucky that we got what we got at the deadline, and it good for Cashman. We definitely needed the depth in our bullpen, but we did nothing for the starting rotation, and there were guys available that could have really made a difference. We'll never know.
Right.
But, it's just, we know that Hal is not his dad, right?
No.
But, Donald, and Donald well. Donald is on the Pinstripe Chronicles and has his own show, Yankified.
Yeah.
And he said something really striking this week. He said this was his inheritance from his father.
Mm-hmm.
And he's spoiling it. He's throwing it away. Would you do that if your father or mother left you a good inheritance? Would you toss it away?
No.
Or would you not be just like your dad, but make sure you uphold his legacy?
Right.
None of that ever have we seen.
I think, and I think we've heard them talk about it with Hal. Like, he wants to be the complete opposite of his dad, right? He doesn't want to make the impulsive move, right? To fire a manager in the middle of the season, or make any drastic moves. But unfortunately, that's kind of backfired, right? Because maybe changing Aaron Boone would have done something this year. Maybe woken the team up at the very least. Number one. Number two, he's probably held on to Cashman way too long. Why this guy still, I mean, they make him out to be this greatest GM of all time. And think about it. He's got one World Series since 2000. One World Series championship since the 2000 Subway Series. One. So that's one in the last 25 years. I don't think that's a good GM. I'm sorry. I don't think we should win every year. We'll never see. Listen, one thing, Lynn, this, I know this. We will never see the 90s run, right? The 4-4, the 4-5.
We'd be naive to hold on to that. No.
Yeah. We'll never see that again. We'll never see 4 out of 5 championships. We'll never see that again, right? In the way baseball is now. But with the way that the Yankees spend money, I'm not calling Hal cheap because he's not cheap. But with the way that they spend money, they have one of the highest payrolls every single year, either the first or second, third, whatever. One of the top 3 every single year. So you can't call Hal cheap. It's more the Cashman, how he spends the money, right? You're going to tell me you're going to give someone else, one of these better GMs, $300 million and say, here, build yourself a team. You could spend as much up to $300 million and you're good. I think they would do a better job than what this guy's done, you know?
There's absolutely no question about it, because he's like, well, yeah, I could take this 300 million and buy, X number of Teslas, or I could go, I could go to Slow Mo's discount store and get 12,000 of them.
Right.
That's his mentality.
Yeah.
And going on the cheap, you're going to get what you pay for. And that's not to say that he hasn't made some good acquisitions. He absolutely has. But do I rely on the idea that he's going to resign that they're going to resign Bellinger?
Yeah, I don't know. I would hope they do, because when you look at the rest of the
they'd
team,
be nuts not to.
I know. I agree.
And that's why they might not.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, he might be too much. I look at it this way, like, where else, if you bring, all right, let's say they do sign him, like, where else is there an opening on this team, right? With the way it looks right now, I don't see an opening, because the outfield's going to be set, right? With Judge, if Bellinger comes back, you got Dominguez coming back. I don't think Grisham will be re-signed, but you're going to have Spencer Jones has to be up next year. He just has to be. I mean,
he does.
Right. So if he comes back, if he comes up, then that's your outfield. First base is where you might have an issue, but I would think it's going to be Ben Rice at first base. I don't think Goldschmidt's coming back. He looks like he's done.
I don't see Goldschmidt coming back, as much as I love him, and as much as up until recently he's been really clutch for us.
Yeah.
I don't think so. He literally was the stopgap. What I wonder about in terms of Rice is, our catching is in bad shape.
Right.
And by the way, where is Ascara?
He's been in AAA.
But why aren't they? He can't be out of options yet. Why?
No. That's the reason why he did get sent down. I think if he was out of options, I don't think they would have moved him down there.
Right. So, why?
Well, the whole thing is, it's like, if you keep him up, then you got 3 catchers. Right. And for the most part of the season, they did carry 3 catches, which didn't make sense. Right. You have 3 catchers. So you kind of left the, your bench a little short by carrying 3 catchers. But it's really, to me, the problem is Wells, because Wells is not hitting, like you said earlier. Like, he's almost at 200. He's at 20. Right. I think he was at 209 coming in today.
Yeah. Right? I think as of today, it was like, 209, 208, somewhere around there.
I mean, that's horrible, right? Yeah. I mean, thank God he's solid defensively, but offensively, I mean, he's been nothing this year. And we were expecting so much more out of him this year, in his second year, whatever it is, second season out of him. So, I don't know. Maybe he had options. Maybe they could have sent him down.
It just makes me wonder, because Ascara was just starting to light up offensively at the plate.
Yeah.
When they sent him down, and I'm for utility players. I think that's great, but it's good that Rice could still pivot the way he pivots. But there's gonna be a time where they're just gonna have to choose.
Right.
And so either they're going to get a really solid first baseman, and that's a joke. No, they won't. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Wells, it's not just the offense. I think that his framing has not been as good as it's been. Right. I think he's pop up. I don't know the stats, but he's a little bit slower to the pop. Yeah, but still, I mean, what's better? Obviously, his defense. But there's been so many bad calls from umpire. It's been making me wonder if it's because Wells hasn't been doing the thing he's so well known for as well as he used to do it.
Yeah, you never know. It's a possibility. That is a possibility.
Although I love
wonder,
just blaming the umps.
that's
fine.
Yeah, there you go. I wonder if they're going to go like next season. I don't know if they'll bring back Goldschmidt, but they might bring back somebody like him as a right-handed first base option. So then you have him and Rice at first, and also Rice could also back up at catcher as well. I don't know. They might do something like that. But yeah, other than that, to me, the infield seems set, right? McMahon's coming back. Volpe's going to come back. I don't think, everybody's pushing for Lombard Jr. to come up. I think he's still a little bit a ways, like maybe next year at the end of the year, if he has a great first half, maybe we'll see him in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
Even then, I don't know. But I still think it's going to be Volpe. It's going to be probably Jazz. They might trade Jazz because Jazz has really been, right? I mean, we've seen him. I mean, that play, what was that, last week in Florida? I mean, come on. A little leaguer knows. It's a pop up to second base. You stay at your own base, right? You don't try to advance there.
And zero, Jazz is like, we love him for his, his panache and,
Swag.
he's flashy and, all those things. But listen, there's a time to show some accountability, some seriousness. The fact that he said to the press after the game that, like, no, I mean, I know that field. I played that field. I had a good read on that. It just didn't work out. Like,
what? I'm curious.
What
read? Yeah, what was the read though? What are you reading? It's a pop up.
Well, because Chris, he's Nostradamus, and no one ever knew it. He's Nostradamus come back to life. Because I think even Nostradamus must have predicted that he was going to come back to life.
Yeah.
And it's in the body of Jazz Chisholm because he knew that because of the way the ball would land on the grass, that he'd be able to steal the base because he'd be running after that ball that's going to fall in the grass.
Right, of course. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I want my $19.99 per minute back.
Yeah, exactly. That's
psychic. And yeah, I'm falling a little bit off the Jazz wagon.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm with you. Trust me. And I think a lot of fans are too. Because you know what? If you could have all the swag you want, you could have all that stuff you want, but you also, you got to produce. And he's another one. He's not producing. I mean, the rest of the team isn't, but you got to produce. I'm sorry. And he's just not producing like the rest of his team. So I'm curious if the Yankees move on from him in the offseason, like trade him, because I think he's got one more year on his contract. So maybe they trade him because maybe it's just not working out here. It's just, I get it. Sometimes you need a little bit of that. You need a little swag on your team, right? You need a guy like that, but you also want him to produce and play well, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't think I don't know, especially lately, he's been bad.
Yep. And we've eaten larger contracts than his, so.
Yeah. I don't think they'll cut him, but I think they'll try to trade him. And I think they'll still get something for him. He's got one more year left, and I think they'll get something for him. I just don't know what at this point. It's sad because he's a guy that could play, second base. He could play third. If you have to, he could play the outfield as well if you need him, and he seems like a good, it's weird because he seems like a good person, right? Because he's always with the fans. You see him taking pictures, right? Last year, I think with the Little League Classic, right? He was with the kid the whole time, and he seems like a good-hearted person too. It's not like but on the field this year, he just has not produced. I remember earlier in the season, people were like, "We got to extend this guy," and I was like, "Yeah, maybe," but I don't know. I don't think they're going to extend him.
Yeah, I never expected to be on the fence, and I hope that I don't stay there.
Yeah,
but and he's not the only one. He's not a standout in this way. They all just flatly suck. And I kind of felt bad for the four new guys in the bullpen their first night.
Right.
Like,
oh my God.
I dreamt all my life to be in pinstripes. Oh, frig, what the hell did I get myself into? Right. That's what I'd be thinking.
Oh my God, what a game, right? That was like the worst game. Ugh. to watch too, because it was so up and down, and then unfortunately it ended on a down. But yeah, I just it's crazy. And again, I think Bednar is our closer now. I would think so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were staying away from him tonight because he pitched like 40 something pitches the other night, and
Yeah.
maybe they wanted to give him an extra day's rest, I guess. Whatever. I mean, he had yesterday off, but
they had already optioned what's his name, Kirk. He was with us, so like
Bird, right? Jake Bird. Yeah.
Kirk.
Whatever. Yeah, no, it's close enough. Trust me.
I mean, he was only there for a couple of innings.
Yeah, no, he wasn't good enough to say his name correctly, so I have no problem. But anyway, the Mets did lose also. They lost 3-2 to the Brewers. That's a big loss for them too, because they're starting to, they're starting to fall down. They have a little bit more leeway than we do. We only got a half game now in front of Cleveland. So, but with them losing, I mean, that's big.
That's big. They still have the wild card spot, like a comfortable lead, but it depends on who lost behind them. But the Mets are the ones that, it's right there in front of them. The Yankees are like, it's foggy. I'm not sure what's out there. There's a big difference right now. And this organization needs a shake-up and a shakedown.
Yeah, I think from the top all the way down to the bottom. Like, we're talking about Cashman, the front office, a whole different strategy, right? From just top to bottom, new coaching staff, everything, even in the minor leagues. A friend of mine today was telling me that a friend of his was at one of the minor league games, and he said the fundamentals are bad there too. So it's like but why are we not teaching good fundamentals? It's baseball. Like, why are we trying to think? Here's the other thing. Like, why are the Yankees? Because I've heard that one of the beat reporters say this, that the Yankees are trying to be the smartest team around. Like, they're trying to outsmart. Like, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel here? It's baseball, right? Just play right. If you play good baseball, you're going to win, right? All these other teams do it. Why can't you do it? Look at Tampa. Yeah. Tampa never has opening day roster, right? When you look at their roster, you're like, who are these people? But you know what? At the end of the year, right, or halfway through the year, they're like in the race every year. Why? Because they know how to play. They play within their system, and they're a good team. We're not that. We're not. We're just a group of good players, but they're just not good baseball players sometimes. I don't get it.
And if I hear Paul O'Neill say one more time, it got depressing after a while. So it's not really about O'Neill, but they spend all of spring training on fundamentals. I'm like,
how?
Okay, but
really?
And maybe not. Maybe they can't hold on to information. Maybe they regress over time. Like, how about rather than everyone, jogging onto the field and doing their own little stretch routine that they want to do on their own, how about some fundamental drills when you're running out onto the field at the start of the game? I don't even see that, tossing around the diamond, tossing from outfield to infield kind of stuff. That helps build your IQ, ladies and gentlemen. And that's, they're losing IQ points. Yeah. Their baseball IQ, offensively and defensively, is just dripping down the drain. So
here's the wild card, right? That's how the wild card looks right now. We're a half game in front of Cleveland. Thankfully, the Phillies, either they beat Texas or they are beating Texas. So we should be okay with them. But we're only a half game in front of Cleveland. I still don't get it. Like, Cleveland, a game will be a game and a half in front of Texas. Right? And then Kansas City is 3.5 behind us. Tampa, 4 games. I mean, come on. How?
But, Chris, I have never slept on the Guardians.
Yeah.
Because the Guardians, when they were Indians, they cost us some serious, serious
Yeah. Oh
playoff
no,
time.
they're a team like, to me, they're like Tampa, right? They're that team like Tampa. Like beginning of the year, you think, they're you kind of overlook them, but then halfway through the year, they're right there, right? And look
Mm-hmm.
where we are now. We're in the middle of August, and they're a half game behind the Yankees for the final wild card
Yeah,
spot. Like, it's amazing that we're even talking like that about the Yankees this year.
it's
Like,
very yeah.
it's very strange. Um, and then here's the National League. I know we got obviously Met fans out there too. This is how the wild card looks for the Mets. The Mets are only up 3.5, but you got Cincinnati behind them at 3.5 games. To me, Cincinnati's a team that they're just inconsistent. They haven't been able to get like a consistent play, and I thought they would have with Francona being their manager this year. They just haven't gotten consistent play this year. Lost 3 straight now. I was going to say 49. San Fran is only 4.5 out, and then you got St. Louis, and then the Marlins. They're only 5.5. I mean, they played great against us. I mean,
Thanks
yeah,
to
they
the
should go to the
Yankees.
World Series. They played great against us, but that's how the wild card races look like for the American and National League. I just look at the AL one, and I shake my head because I can't believe it that we're at this point. And like a month ago, right, we were like cruising, right? Before the All-Star break, we were still in first place. And that was less than a month ago, or about a month ago now.
Yep.
And look where we are. A half
That's
game
right.
out of not making the playoffs. And here's the other thing. All right, Lynn, if they don't make the playoffs, what do you think is going to happen?
Nothing.
You don't think you think they're going to bring back Boone if they don't make the playoffs?
I want Boone gone today.
Yeah, I don't think there's a
I
person
think
out there
it's
that
the
doesn't
shakeup. I
disagree.
think that's the shakeup that's needed.
Yeah.
Is and the cries are getting louder about it. Oh, and by the way, before I go on my Boone tear, because I have one inside of me, let me just share an update with you about some scores you might be interested in.
Okay.
So Blue Jays, it's just the middle of the third, but the Blue Jays are on top of the Dodgers. Let's see, the Red Sox end of 4 are winning 4-0 over the Padres. So those are the
And
two
those are
teams.
teams we're trying to catch.
Yeah. How
Forget
about
about them behind us. We're worried about Cleveland catching us, but we're trying to catch. We're not catching those guys now.
right?
I think that's done.
And this is a great time for the Blue Jays to be facing the Dodgers because, if I never would want a Dodgers resurgence, but kind of rooting for them at the moment. But the thing is, there's just a lot of evidence that I don't know. Am I the only one that thought it was a bad signing to get him back for that many years when they haven't had a ring since 2009?
Yeah.
And then sign on some more years on top of that. So let's just keep rewarding for bad behavior. And he's a friend. He's not a manager. And you choose to chew out your first base coach who had zero wrongdoing in that whole Chisholm affair.
I could understand why he did, because as a first base coach, he's got to be screaming, get back, right? You shouldn't have to, because it's a pop up to second base. So normally, like a little leaguer wouldn't need a first base coach to tell him to come back on a pop up to second. But
and I would say also it happened so fast that he probably wouldn't have had time to say get back, because it hadn't happened yet,
Yeah.
But my point being, but just as we're going to commercial, you get a glimpse of, Boone leading Chisholm down into the dugout.
Yeah.
Where he probably said, okay, why I'm doing this, right? Oh, yeah, Dad, I know why we're doing this. I get it.
Yeah, I know why.
Come on. It's just, he needs to be gone. If this organization wants to be serious, and right now they are an embarrassment, and not in the way that Yankee fans have always said it, because we're mad and we're pouting about how much we suck at the moment. They're just bad by any definition, and they need to shake it up. And I'm going to say something really controversial. Either find a new captain.
Ooh, that is
or Judge needs to be shook.
Okay.
Because I don't see any captaining going on. And, a Judge is talking like Boone at the end of every game, regardless of how bad it was. And it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
He might as well be, saying we're turning the page. It's right there. We're pressing hard. How about saying, we got to get it together. We're, the guys and I
always talks to the press with like a smile or a smirk on his face
and a wink. His tell is a wink. You know what I mean? Even at the Mail reporters, by the way, we're going to be.
I hate to say it, but did Jeter, as the captain, was he ever smiling at the press when the Yankees were playing bad?
No,
he would say, "No, there's no excuse. We got to play better."
That's right.
This has to get better.
Absolutely, and we're not seeing that from the captain, and that's a problem. He shouldn't be captain just because he's literally the top performer of all the stats that exist on the team. He's the only one across the top line,
that's actually doing something,
of leading and everything.
But I think the issue is deeper than Boone. Listen, changing Boone is, if they brought in a guy that would not be a puppet for Cashman, then I'm all for it. But the problem is they're going to hire someone that's exactly like Boone, that's going to go exactly by what they tell him to do and how they want him to manage, how they want him to manage the players and all that. It would be the same thing. So to me, the bigger issue is up top, is Cashman.
Oh, it is the bigger issue. Yeah. I'm thinking,
and he's not going anywhere. I think he's got one more year on his contract. So maybe he, one more year and then he steps out, he'll step down himself instead of them firing him. But to me, that's the bigger issue. Like the leadership from the top is just not good from the top. So it just kind of slides down, right? It goes into the coaching. It goes into the leadership. And that's the other thing, not just Boone, but not just Judge too, about leadership. There's no leadership on this team. And I think that's a big issue, because when you look at the other teams, right? When we looked at, we spoke about the late 90s team, the 2000s teams, like there was always that veteran presence.
Yeah.
Leaders, guys that knew how to win.
It was Rizzo.
I don't want to call these guys losers. I don't want to call them losers, but they're not winners. None of them have championship pedigree, right? Who's won a championship on the team? Garrett Cole, maybe.
Cole might be literally the only one.
Well, Fried won one with the Braves.
Yeah, and Rizzo had won one.
Right.
And he was really second captain as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, with Judge. But he wasn't going to step on his toes though either.
No.
Right.
No, although Judge would probably let him. Yeah. All right. I get that. And congrats, by the way. And I guess we'll see each other soon, won't we?
Yeah.
But
I know, I get it. Like Boone he wasn't great last year either. I think last year was almost like this year, right? And we didn't play great last year either. Let's be honest. It wasn't a great team last year. We weren't playing great defense or anything like that. I think last year was just that we got lucky in the playoffs. We faced, who do we face? We faced Kansas City and we faced Cleveland in the playoffs. Yeah, Cleveland's a tough team, but they're a team still that you should beat. Right. I'm sorry. That's still a team. You're better in a 7-game series against Cleveland, right? Simple as that. Like, especially last year with Soto. If we lost to Cleveland, that would have been an upset. And obviously beating Kansas City is no big deal too. So
right.
I think, and I think that's what could have happened this year too, because there's no great teams in the American League. So
no,
it's sad.
And the teams are beating us anyway. And I would just say that Boone really he's lost. He used to have a little bit of fire. Right. You remember, my guys are savages in the box.
Yeah.
You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Who kicked the dirt and imitated what the umpire was doing. Where did he go? But he took his 2 salary bumps and extensions and ran with it. He's been a patsy ever since, even patsier than he was. And so he's not doing anything to instigate fire in the dugout, which is part of his job.
Right. Yeah.
And there's been plenty of opportunity, Lord knows, with these umpires and their calls. And so, he'll spit out a sunflower seed and yell at them from the dugout just enough that he doesn't get thrown out.
Yeah. I've been talking about that. Cashman is the bigger issue here. I'm sorry. He's won 1 championship since 2000. 1 championship in 25 years. That's unacceptable in New York. You know what? If we were in Pittsburgh, if we were in, and no disrespect to them, but if we're in a small market team and you win 1 championship in 25 years, that's not bad. But not for a big market team like New York, where you're expected to win. And I'm not saying they're going to win every single season, and we're not going to have an era like we did in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's not going to happen. Thank God we witnessed it, Lynn, and thank God, anybody over the age of like 30 years old, was there and lived through it and appreciated that, because we're never going to see that again. We just never. And it's not just the Yankees, any team. Like, it's just, you just don't see that anymore. Right. So
why?
Something's got to change. Why?
Other than the fact that MLB has lost their friggin' minds,
yes,
and the game is entirely different.
Yes,
that's a big factor, but maybe it is entirely that. Right. I don't know, but
that and
never is a long time.
You're right. There's more playoff rounds now, right? You got the extra wild card teams and all that. You got more teams spending money too. Mm-hmm. Back then there was 1 or 2 teams. Now you got a good amount of teams that are looking to spend money. Listen, the Dodgers and the Mets are still going to spend the most money because those guys have ridiculous money. The Yankees don't even have the money that the Mets owner or the Dodgers owners have, right? We don't even have that kind of money.
Maybe,
there's other teams that are going to spend money, and that's the big difference. Like when we were winning all those years, there wasn't many teams that had the money that the Yankees. If the Yankees wanted somebody, they got him, right? It was that simple. The only way we didn't get a player was if that player didn't want to come here. Like, say, Greg Maddux, if you remember, right? Maddox turned us down. Clemens actually originally turned us down when he went to Toronto.
We couldn't get Yamamoto. We couldn't get Shohei Ohtani.
Right. This is now. Yeah, now with the Dodgers are just, they just throw money around. Like, they're just, because they got the Guggenheim investment firm.
Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need a sugar daddy because the Steinbrenners aren't it anymore.
No.
Maybe we need to rename the stadium like Home Depot Stadium or something like everyone else is doing.
Oh,
I am kidding.
We can't do that.
You know me, so you know I'm kidding, but I'm publicly saying I am kidding.
But I'm all for firing Boone because I think this team needs it needs an enema. Basically, right?
It does.
I think the Yankees need an enema from the top bottom. And that's the only way it's going to get better. Because if not, it's just, we're going to see the same thing. That's the sad part. If Cashman is here, even if they fire Boone, it's going to be the same type. Because, all right, who do you want to see manager? I'll ask you that. Do you have a person in mind?
Yes,
Don't say Mattingly. Please don't say Mattingly.
I'm not going to say Mattingly. Okay.
Because I don't want, because you know what's going to happen with Mattingly. And I don't want to see it to happen then. But
no, I love Donnie too much for that.
Yes, right.
I think they should look in-house. I think they should look at Jorge Posada, for example. I think they should look at Andy Pettit, for example. I think Jorge would keep them in line. I think Posada would keep them in line in a way that Boone is not capable of.
I
And they
agree.
certainly know the game.
I agree with you, Lynn. I 100% agree with you. The problem I see with them is that they're still like this. They're in family mode, number one, right? They all have kids. They're a
Still
little bit
young,
older
you
now,
think?
maybe teenage years, but that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, they've made a crap load of money in their life, right? They're worth what, 150, $200 million, right? Like, do they really want to come back and deal with this that we're dealing with? Like, think about it, because that's what they're going to be dealing with. They're going to
For
be
the
dealing
challenge
with the stress,
of a Yankees resurgence.
but they don't care. They have a handful of rings. They're not. If they didn't win, and they wanted to win a championship, I think that would drive them more, right? I don't know if a resurgent, like, look, you can see Jeter. Jeter doesn't care. Like, if he cared, he'd be back here.
Yeah.
I don't think they care in that sense. They care about the Yankees, but not in that sense, because they knew
he didn't even care about the team he owned. He's certainly not going to come back to the Yankees as a manager.
Right. So I don't know. Listen, I would love to see it though. I'm with you.
All right.
I think I would offer him the job for sure. I would call him, and let him say, nah, I'm good. I'm enjoying my life. I got young kids or whatever, and whatever.
Here's somebody with not a lot of rings and a much more realistic choice. I can't say it with straight face, but why not call CC?
Yeah, why not? I mean, but again, these guys got right.
I'm so desperate. I'm ridiculous.
No, I'm not saying it's not, but they're smart. Those are smart choices. They're not bad choices. They're really good choices. It's just that you got to remember, these guys have made money. Right? Like, I don't think they're coming back and
dealing do it out of the kindness of their heart.
Yeah. I don't think they're coming, because that's what it would be for. Right? Because how much are they going to get paid? $5 million, right? $10 million. I don't know.
They could write it off.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure it'd be like
charity.
Nothing. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, that's right. It would be charity. You're right. It'd also be very painful charity. This would be like for them guys to come back and deal with this crap every single day, the media, the scrutiny, the pressure, and all that. Like, think about what they're doing right now. They're just kicking back. They're just counting their money. They're living their life. They got kids. They're in like family mode. You see, Jeter's got really young kids. So there's no way we're going to see Jeter back.
He's having tea parties and putting makeup on. He's living his dream.
He's not coming back. I think the Spotted kids are a little bit older, because they were young when he was playing, I think. So I don't know, maybe, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't see Jeter doing it, but
yeah. And the guy, I think they would come back if they offered it to him. I think Mattingly would come back. I just don't want to see him come back now, because I see the same thing happening. He's going to come here. The team's going to be like, like what we're seeing, good enough to win, but they don't win. He's going to get booed out of town and all this stuff that we're saying about Boone. Not that I'm going to say that about Mattingly, because Mattingly will do no wrong, right? In my mind, I know, and so with you, but he's going to he'll get killed here if he doesn't win. And think of that. I think it'll affect his legacy here, and I really don't want that to happen.
I agree. I agree.
Really don't. And I love Mattingly.
I mean, I just spoke to Mattingly a couple of weeks ago, and it still haunts him that he never got a ring.
Yeah.
So he's not going to do double indemnity on himself and come back to this shit pot.
Right. Basically, right. Like, the only guys that are going to come back here are guys that are either chasing a ring or that, that wants an opportunity to manage.
They have one last ballot on the Hall of Fame drive.
Right. Right. So that's the sad part. So that's where we're at, I think, as Yankee fans. We're kind of like, we're waiting for changes that aren't going to happen. Sadly.
That's the thing. Unless, the only thing that would impact this organization is if the green isn't coming out as fast as it, as it is. as long as fans are filling those seats, and
Right. They don't care.
all evidence shows, and the chicken nuggets can't get in the fryer any faster, and so unless those seats start emptying out and ticket prices go down, and those season ticket holders say, I'm not interested next season.
Right.
That's the only thing that would have any sort of shot, and I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah,
It just,
I agree. That's the only way and that's the only voice we have, right? Because they don't care about people complaining on social media or anything. Like you said, if the numbers are still there, like if they're still bringing in 40-something thousand people a night, at the stadium's full, and the chicken nuggets are still rolling out of the the greaser or whatever.
Yeah,
nothing's gonna change.
Of course,
right? Because Hal looks at it. This is the difference between Hal and his dad. His dad wanted to win. He didn't care, right? He did everything he could to win. Sometimes, or a lot of times, not the right moves, right? Because we went through the 80s. 80s were bad. We know. It took him getting suspended and all that stuff, but whatever. But he wanted to win. Like he had that desire. He wanted to win every single year. Hal, I don't think, wants to win that bad.
No.
As long as the numbers look good,
Nope.
I think he's good. If they make the playoffs, like if they made the playoffs this year and they got knocked out early, all right, it's disappointing. But you know what? We got some playoff games, right? We hosted 2 playoff games or whatever. We made an extra blah, 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 blah money. We're still if you're in the red, that's good, right? Or in the black. How does that work?
You're in the black if you're flush and not losing anything.
So there you go. I think as long as he's in the black, I think he's good. Right? If everything everything looks good to him financially, the numbers, and we're making money, all right. Why should we change? Why should we fire Boone? We got to pay him anyway, so make him manage. He's going to make the playoffs. Or all right, he didn't make it this year. You know what? That'll be. You know what the excuse would be if they don't make the playoffs? You know what? We lost Cole before the season started. We had injuries. Things didn't go our way. Blah blah blah. We didn't play our best, but we'll be back next year.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm sure that'll change when Dylan Cease is available, and they'll open up their wallet, and they'll, do all the things in the off season, and I'm the tooth fairy.
Right. Yeah.
Allow me to introduce myself. Sorry. I hope the kids aren't listening. I just blew it for them.
Yeah. Well, all right, Lynn, before we go, because I think we've complained enough tonight.
And we haven't even talked Mets. I'm sorry, Rob.
I know. I don't know if the Mets fans want to talk about it tonight either. So they're in a little bit of a slump too. So, okay. I always ask this question to our guests, and you are our guest. This final question. If you were named Major League Baseball commissioner, what changes would you make to the game?
I would call the Umpires Association to the table,
okay,
and say, that Jen Powell woman that's got her start in Atlanta on August 9th, 2025.
Good for her.
Let's get more of that to happen. I'd say, you know what, umpires, you suck. And there has to be a criteria and a rating system, and there needs to be a job review for these umpires, some accountability for these umpires. I haven't seen anything that speaks to that.
Do you want the robot umpires?
I do not want the robot.
You don't want it. Okay. So you didn't want the challenge system?
That they tried? I like the challenge system. And
okay.
I do like the challenge system. I like that, because you do need to keep up the pace of the game. And, so limiting the challenges, because Lord knows, I don't know what's going on with those challenges, but whatever's going on in Chelsea or Stanford or wherever those guys are, they're having lunch before they make a decision.
Yeah, no, it does. Sometimes it does take a while.
And so I'm okay with that. The reason I still, as much as I am infuriated every game, one way or another, by an umpire, You need that element in the game. It's just part of the chemistry
I agree.
and and the experience.
I agree.
And catch what are catchers going to be then? They're not going to have to worry about framing or
No, they'll just be
doing
catchers.
any of their yeah.
Literally
Wherever
just
the ball
catchers.
lands,
Just
I'll just have my mitt open. So right. I think I would talk about coaches, baseline coaches. Would I, as commissioner, be able to fire Rojas? Would I finally get the third base coach for the New York Yankees gone?
Get him out. Get him out.
No,
I'm the
but in all
commissioner of baseball. Get
seriousness,
that third base coach out of here.
I am not interested in an MLB that is going to start looking like the NBA and the NFL with their first seed, second seed, this bracket, that bracket, and that's what we become. Like, the initial version of the wild card, game, cool.
Right.
But now it's become, and I think that's weighing things down and playing into the fatigue so that by the time the guys get through all of that mushigots, they're they're tired before they even get to the championship.
I agree.
Let alone the series.
Right. So
that's just for starters.
Right. So less wild card. I agree, but I don't think that's going to happen, right? Because
it's
just too much money.
If I was.
Yeah, there's too much money involved there, but all right, one more. Do you think we'll see a female manager?
I absolutely do. We've come close, and it's happened in the minors, and
we had one.
And affiliate teams, and so exactly. I think we're getting there, and I think a major glass ceiling is breaking tomorrow with Jen Powell.
I think it's awesome.
So it's just got to keep cracking.
And it's sad. The ceiling is not that high with umpires, so not that I'm not taking anything away from her. I think it's great, but
it isn't. But
the umpires are pretty bad. So.
It's still big. Are you reading like the threads, the comments on Facebook and about her?
Yeah.
Not kind.
No.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. That's
a woman doesn't belong anywhere in baseball. Yeah, well, that was the wrong thread for me to to notice.
Sadly we're in 2025, and
yes,
it is what it is, unfortunately.
Right, but yes, I do think we'll see a woman manager, and even in my lifetime, and I'm going to be 61 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
so I think I'll see it, and I don't think we're all that far away. I think the front office has certainly seen them, and like I said. Yep, I think we will.
All right. Anyway, Lynn, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. Otherwise, I'd be here talking to myself here, and I would not want that. And I don't think anybody else wants that either. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me join you. You're one of my favorites.
Times. I love it. It's great. Why don't you give all your information out so people know where to follow you and all that? Because I want them to check out your show as well.
Oh, thanks. So the Upper Deck is on Sundays. We go live at 11 a.m. on Sundays. Except for this Sunday, Ciara and I both have family obligations. But join us next week live at 11 on YouTube. Our handle for Hit the Upper Deck is Hit the Upper Deck for X. My handle, or whatever, what am I, a trucker on a CB radio? I'm at Pinstripes 2825 on X.
Right back at you, good buddy.
10-4.
Okay. That's right. Okay. So, all right. So everybody check Lynn out. For sure, the Upper Deck podcast. Of course, she's part of the Pinstripe Chronicles. Check them out as well. Love those guys. They're the best.
They are.
And we'll be back with Rob. Me and Rob will be back Monday. Hopefully at 3:00. We will see you there. But have a great weekend. Hopefully the Yankees could somehow win these next two to win the series 2 out of 3. Hopefully the Mets could come back and win 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee. But
yes, please.
I don't have that much patience. I don't have that much more confidence anymore in these guys. So anyway, good luck. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you Monday.